something that like if you're gonna trust somebody with the ability to hypnotize you, right? I mean, like in a stage hypnosis show, it's different, just because there's witnesses. You don't have to really worry about it, right? You're not actually like in any danger, like with entertainment hypnosis or stage hypnosis, unless like it's an amateur type of thing, or you know what I mean, like you know, like if the building structure is unsafe or something like that, or whatever the case may be. But I mean, in that setting, right, with the audience, the hypnotist is not going to, intentionally try to abuse you on a stage, right? It's not common. Um, you typically don't have to worry about it. But other than that, I mean, this is kind of something like, I wouldn't trust somebody with hypnosis, unless I trusted them with my social security number, because that person wants to use that, um, wants to abuse that, right? Then I mean they can, and that's what it means. Is like literally. That's kind of a good example, actually, too. Um, Not exactly the what I meant by an example, but anyways, so hypnosis. Hypnosis can be used to abuse someone. Which, of course, is extremely dangerous. And even if it's like, and this is what I mean, like, even if it's in a hypnotherapeutic setting, like, the example, right? I mean, if you trust them with your social security number, right? You trust them with your life. I mean, you can, like, just let them do it. And, I mean, majority of the time, a hypnotherapist isn't likely to have bad intentions. Majority of the time, they're going to have good intentions. But at the same time, like, say for example, if you give a hypnotherapist your social security number, right? Well, I mean, just because they're not likely to take your social security number doesn't mean that it's impossible for them to do it, right? I mean, if you give it to them, then they have access to it, and that's the thing. That's real. So I mean, if they wanted to, they could. That's the fact of the matter. Is it's not impossible. And it has actually happened to me too. In a therapy session. That's the first time I got hypnotized. I got abused so much. More than ever in my entire life. So, there's that for you. Hypnosis can abuse someone, which of course is considered dangerous. Is considered extremely dangerous in this context. Extremely dangerous in these circumstances. I also want to clarify, this is going to make it even sound scarier, especially if you have children. Um, That's actually a really big deal. Uh, I mean, that's serious. That's horrible. I am sorry about like the. I mean, it's not my fault, but So this is the thing. So hypnosis, like when I was hypnotized, the people that hypnotized me impersonated the Make a Wish Foundation. So I mean, if you have children, I can definitely understand why you would feel scared, and justifiably, yes, the fear is very real. I will clarify that. I mean, I wouldn't be making these videos if it wasn't. So moving on from that, I mean, that really does explain a lot. Um, So, like I even have evidence of that too. A lot of evidence, profound evidence. And I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of people that would even laugh at me. And, I mean, if a person's abusing you, right, then I mean, they would really like it if the situation was too embarrassing for the victim to be able to talk about. So, unfortunately, for parents, this is something else that you'd have to worry about. I mean, that's very real. I mean, it's very real. In fact, I mean that is a minimization or a minimized dramatization, completely unexaggerated. Completely, I apologize. It does not give the danger of the situation enough justice. In order to clarify, a person could be hypnotized and have no recollection at all whatsoever of the event, and then even be hypnotized to kill themselves if they try to tell anybody. It's that serious. Wow. Um, so, oh, that's right, that's right. So, I mean, in that context, right? I mean, typically, I mean, I understand it causes a lot of concern for safety, and like if you ever have any suspicions of that, that's very serious, and you need to take that seriously. But I mean, if you don't, um, I don't want to cause parents to just be worried uncontrollably because everyone's using hypnosis nowadays. It's not exactly like that. But I mean, it's so it is possible for a person to use that I mean, hypnosis is something that you typically might have no idea like if somebody does know hypnosis or not know hypnosis. So it's a very good thing for me to clarify that I am also going to be making laws about hypnosis. You know, which are very serious. Involuntary hypnosis being a third-degree felony, abusive hypnosis being a second-degree felony, and any form of hypnotic seal being a second-degree felony as well. So, I'm not taking it lightly by any means, especially after what I've been through. So, I mean, and it's also kind of like, I mean, if you can't trust a therapist, who can you trust, right? So from there, I mean, that's also kind of the thing that I was gonna say is like, I mean, you'd want to be cautious with like babysitters and things along those lines. I mean, if you really trust them with the safety of your child, then you trust them. If you don't, I mean, I'm not trying to make people paranoid by any means, but it is reality of a possible situation. And I'm also trying not to, being a victim of it myself, I'm not trying to, minimize the reality of the risk at all. It's not the right thing to do. So I'm not trying to induce paranoia. I apologize. I'm not trying to do anything harmful or ill-willed at all. It's just, this is sad. Sorry. That like I said, I don't know if I just smiled just barely, but uh, even this include being hypnotized to smile while talking about murder. And yeah, I even had like it even took me like I started having to talk about witness tampering and victim tampering before I was able to finish talking about before which was cued by the hypnosis as a distraction to prevent me from being able to finish writing that. Moving on. So like, yeah, you can really understand the seriousness of the situation. Um, so like, okay, that's why the hypnosis is not allowing me to finish. That's why they did that to me. Because they're trying to prevent me from moving on and finishing the subject without having to make myself look bad for it. Wow, that's sick. That is sick. And sorry about the timers, by the way. So I had to set the timers because the hypnosis has inhibited me so much that it's prolonging and wasting my time, consuming my time excessively. Dangerous in these circumstances. So, that's it. So, a basic, wow. Okay. I think that's kind of what was going on there because it was so strenuous for me to be able to do. And I kept trying to do it, and then I kept having to elaborate on something that I went over on detail about, right? So, a basic rule of thumb I advise from experience. And that's going to bring me to the next one. And that is, can you be hypnotized against your will? Oh, yeah. You can't be, so I mean, there's two different myths associated with that, right? There's the you can't be hypnotized involuntarily, and then the you can't be hypnotized to do something against your will, or you can't be hypnotized to do something involuntarily. So the answer to that, I'll go ahead and clarify before I even finish. If you want to know, the answer is yes. You can be hypnotized without not only without your consent, but also without your knowledge or your recollection or memory of it. Hypnosis can be induced with a handshake, as an example. It's called a handshake induction. There's a lot of demonstrations of it on YouTube, so feel free to look at it. And of course, a lot of hypnotists will clarify, like hypnosis is safe in the context. Yes, a lot of those street hypnotists and stage hypnotists as well. I mean, yes, it is actually very, very safe. I mean, those people have no ill intentions. They're not trying to hurt anybody. That's just the reality of the situation. Is like, I mean, when someone's carrying around a professional grade camera, right? I mean, has a cameraman following them around with a professional grade camera, you're kind of like, okay, well, I mean, that makes sense, right? I mean, I don't think I'm too worried about this guy, like, trying to abuse me, right? But, I mean, if it's just some person on the street, then, I mean, that's where, yeah, anything can happen, literally. So, the myths can cause a lot more harm than good. It's good to understand the reality of this situation, and it's good to have laws on it because it happened to me, and I mean, this is the thing. Like, the average person isn't going to be able to do what I'm doing right now. The average person is not going to be able to demystify hypnosis. I had to learn hypnosis myself. The average person's not going to be able to. The average person could end up in a psychiatric unit, based off of the rumors and the myths. I mean, like the state mental hospital, for example, because of the myths and the rumors around hypnosis. The lies about hypnosis. So, a basic rule I advise from experience. Okay. Before I move on too much, right? Like, I just want to point that out again. Include being hypnotized to smile while talking about murder. So, basic rule I advise from experience is to only trust them a person with hypnotizing you if you trust them with your social security number. But yeah, sorry, what I was talking about with that street hypnosis thing, handshake inductions, very common. So I mean, basically, it's a good thing that I'm, making it clarified on how serious of a situation it is because it is a serious risk to public safety. The last thing I'd want to do, and I mean, it's kind of like what would I be supposed to do in this situation as well, anyways. Um, like literally, a risk or a concern I have. But that's also why I'm making it so serious. Like, I mean, I'm talking about making involuntary hypnosis a third-degree felony. The reason I'm doing that, involuntary hypnosis, you don't even have to prove that you were abused with hypnosis. As long as you could prove that you were hypnotized by somebody without consent, then they're getting charged for it. So that makes it so much more difficult for people to be able to get away with. Because you don't have to even specify a specific post-hypnotic suggestion or a hypnotic command or instruction. Like I've specified several of and gotten no help. All you'd have to do is prove that you were involuntarily hypnotized. And I mean, like that's the concept, right? Really deterring abuse in general. And also another thing is a lot of the people that use hypnosis probably there's also the aspect of like typically you want to if you're going to try to do something along those lines, you don't want to make sure that the person was susceptible to hypnosis, or else then they're in really big trouble because they just got caught trying to hypnotize a person, right? And it didn't work, and you're like, whoa, what? You just yelled sleep at me, like, get the hell out of here. Stop tugging my shoulder, right? I mean, that makes it much more difficult for people to be able to get away with. But the important thing is trying to keep people from being able to get away with it. And, the more that it's denied here, right? In my example, the more dangerous it is. I am sorry to say that. That's horrible. Because I'm going through hell for it. Moving on from that, the last thing was, you can't be hypnotized involuntarily. And then the last one, this is complete lie. No, you can be hypnotized against your will. You can be hypnotized involuntarily. You can also be hypnotized without your knowledge or consent. Without your knowledge or recollection. Let me think about this because I wanted to word it a little bit differently. You can't be hypnotized involuntarily. No, not only. There we go. Not only can a person be hypnotized involuntarily, a person can be hypnotized without consent and. Sorry about that. Without. This is where the hypnosis is inhibiting my articulation. So there's knowledge, and what? The hypnosis is inhibiting me right now. Knowledge and what? The hypnosis is being used to abuse me. Knowledge and what? Knowledge and recollection. There we go. There we go. Seems as if that was, an example of that. And then, you can't be hypnotized to do something against your will. And the other concept with that, I'll have to clarify, actually. Hetero action and homo action. So, like to those that are curious, that means that there are certain things that you can do. Like, say for example, if you can do one thing that is like if a person responds to one suggestion, they're more likely to respond to a second one, but that's a different suggestion, right? So like if you hypnotized a person to forget their name, they're more likely to not be able to pronounce the number 3. That's a different one. And then if you hypnotize somebody to feel a small itch, right? Then you can hypnotize, or like a small sensation of cold. Then they can be hypnotized to experience a strong sensation of cold. Same thing with pain, right? From a small itch to like a scratch, etc. No, not only. So it was hetero action. The hypnosis is definitely repressed my memory of it. Hetero action, I'm fairly certain, is the different one, right? Yeah, different. Okay, that makes sense. So homo action is, basically like going from, like say for example, going from a mild stutter to like complete inability to talk, right? Or mild sensation of cold, intense sensation of cold, or hypnosis is being used to abuse me right now. But yeah, anyways, you get the point that I'm getting at. You can't be hypnotized involuntarily. No, not only can you be hypnotized, especially because like I looked like I was dizzy when I was doing that too, right? I don't know if you noticed that. That's part of the hypnosis. No, not only can you be sorry about that. The hypnosis is inhibiting me right now. Be hypnotized against your be hypnotized involuntarily. And this is also another method to be able to clarify that, yeah, you can be hypnotized involuntarily if you don't even remember being hypnotized. You can, no, not only can you be hypnotized involuntarily, you can be, this is where it's like, dragging it out a little bit more. You can be hypnotized without, see, this is what I mean. It's interrupting my sentence. I can't finish. I can't remember. You can be hypnotized to. No, not only can you be hypnotized involuntarily, you can be hypnotized without your knowledge or recollection. Or you can be hypnotized with no knowledge or recollection. Wait. I need to think about it first. You can. This is what they tried to prevent me from doing. That's why I had to use a second piece of paper to write it. without any knowledge or recollection. There we go. That it ever happened. Hold on just a second. Because I can actually use this as an example. Because I think that's what they specifically did with this one. Because, first of all, like, I have a profound ability that to easily articulate myself without strain. I can read without feeling strain. I can speak without feeling strain. I don't get angry when I forget something. So make sure to watch my video, Hypnosis, Abuse, and Inhibition of Speech. Or Hypnosis, Abuse, and Speech Inhibition, I believe. Either one. You should be able to find it, hopefully. And that's where I clarify exactly everything that you should be able to see in the video, too. Or I can say it can also